couple of weeks ago, we see reports and rumors that Tesla had, I'll say disappointing April sales. Then the MIC comes out and basically blows past it to where actual sales in April were much better than what was anticipated by this previous report. Why is it that do you think that we see so much FUD coming from traditional media and some of the mainstream areas around the topic of Tesla, especially as it relates to China?
First of all, Tesla China is not part of CPCA, which is that governing body where you hear all. So they're not a member of that. So really, Tesla can report any numbers it wants, and so that's why there's some confusion. Last month, April that is, Tesla just changed up how it reports its deliveries, and some of those vehicles weren't actually delivered in China. A lot of them weren't. So that created a lot of confusion. The state media does not like that, especially. But if you just take out April was kind of a fluke for Tesla. You do have this. Its brand is definitely being hurt right now in China. I don't think that we'll actually see that. You hear about the orders and everything. That's true. The orders are going down because they're fulfilling a lot of orders, but there are not a lot of new net orders coming on board. And even if there are, we won't even see this until late summer. So yeah. It's really right now. I would just take out April and because the factory was shut down for 2 weeks, certain lines were shut down. It was a chip shortage. April was definitely a fluke. So I wouldn't really look at April too much. But certainly, if you look at China, at Tesla's market share in China, it's plateauing around 12%. So, and that's obviously they can't keep up with everything, especially as all these other companies come online with all of these really attractive cars for Chinese consumers, and the Chinese are buying them, and I think that shocks people. But Tesla still has a very strong brand in China, but there's no doubt about it. It's definitely been tarnished a bit.
Yeah. So do you feel like I look at it this way. In some cases, I look at, well, all right, there's going to be some challenges with any company that is when you're number one around the world, including, them kind of repositioning the table in Europe here recently. Do you feel like there is a FUD attack on Tesla, or do you think this is just finally we just have so much information coming from so many new car makers and so many new markets that are being tracked much more meticulously, that's really kind of just releasing more news that kind of either flows for or against Tesla? What are your thoughts on that?
I think there's definitely, I don't like to even use the word FUD. I think it's typically a lousy excuse that people use when things aren't going their way in the stock market, especially when that's related to the media. But there definitely is more media coverage and negative media coverage on Tesla. It's the all-star right now, and it's whenever it slips up, everyone's going to be all over them. So right. I think that there definitely is a lot of truth to Tesla has more coverage than other companies. That being said, when a Tesla catches on fire, people are going to cover it the same as they will cover other cars if it's in like the middle of a city right next to a mall and everyone's taking videos of it. It's not like the media picks and chooses. These things go viral because they go viral. And that's also sometimes a blessing to Tesla because, especially in China, if you watch how Tesla tracks on Chinese social media, I don't know if you're still cued in with those Chinese social medias, but it really blows up, and no pun intended. But it really goes viral, and that's not the doing of the media. That's just people's interest, and so that means people want to know, hey, is this car safe? Is it not safe? Is autopilot really to blame for a lot of these things? People want to investigate their own things because it's the newest piece of tech out there. So that's something that Tesla has to deal with, no matter how it plays its cards. But right. I think that there definitely will change, especially as some other really fun cars come out. They have already these cult followings. So there's just a much bigger cult following around Tesla. I think that it's also indicative of how little a lot of when Tesla stock swings like 12 points in just a matter of minutes on a news headline, that shows how a lot of these institutional investors of Tesla, they don't know what they're doing when it comes to Tesla. Does not trade like a traditional automotive company. It does not trade like a traditional technology company. It is its own thing. And so a lot of people don't know how to value it. So they do jump and they rely too heavily on the headlines from a lot of these articles. And the headlines are actually, they're written by, not to defend the writers, the journalists, but they are almost always determined by what's going to get the most clicks and everything. And so they are sure. Definitely really clickbaity. They'll be clickbaity with any brand. There just are a lot of stories on Tesla because people want to read. The news is there, especially online. They want to report on what's going to get the most clicks, and Tesla gets the most clicks. So of course they're going to report every single little thing that happens to Tesla. And when the thing is, when Tesla does something really great, the beauty of Tesla is it doesn't need the media. Its fan base just carries it. And that you cannot say about a lot of auto brands.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's, to my point, is that, you know, you've got such a legion on Tesla in terms of supporting what they're doing and, you know, just the whole evolution of it. I just if you watch Tesla, now I'm calling it Tesla Twitter, in the category of just Tesla in itself, it's kind of created its own culture, which is really surprising. At least for me, we've been an analyst of social media for over a decade, and I'm always surprised with certain brands that have been able to kind of rise above the fray. Tesla, by far, in my opinion, based on data that we're pulling, this particular community is one that is unmatched. Apple, Android, you name the topic. And it's an unmatched community that I find very intriguing to continue to watch. One area, though, that they are very active on is around the topic of a thing called Tesla Q. You know what that is, right?
Yeah.
All right. So do you feel like Tesla Q, does that really exist? Do you feel like there are truly active journalists out there that are playing into the scenario of trying to bash Tesla?
They're definitely short sellers out there. And so they are definitely members. They're self-identifying Tesla Q. And that's just as big of a cult as the other side of it.
I would agree.
And I find it really interesting. I try to float in between, and a lot of people on either side do not like it, especially on Twitter. But
you're either in or you're out.
Right. And so, I mean, I've owned 4 Teslas. It's difficult to call me Tesla Q. I'm long the stock, but I certainly know, like in the last 6 months, Tesla has not done anything that excites me as an investor. Now, I will still hold for the long term, but it couldn't even refresh an 8-year-old car in 6 months. So, and yes, when Plaid comes out, I even have an order in for Plaid. Like, it's a fantastic car when they actually deliver it, but they haven't delivered. And so there's not a lot. FSD hasn't really made any progress in the last 5 months. So, and I know they're working, which is why I'm still long the stock. But sometimes you kind of have to face reality. So I call myself an EV realist. But yeah, Tesla Q is definitely a thing. In terms of the media, I've spoken with many people in the media and that cover Tesla, and they're really nice people, every one of them that I've spoken with. But they cover the good stuff and the bad stuff. It's just when they cover the good stuff, they don't have the same amount of enthusiasm as the Tesla super fans, as I call them, when they're reading it. You know, they read something and they say, well, you didn't describe it the right way, or you really don't understand. Well, okay, well, they're a journalist. But when there's something negative, they're quick to jump on it. So I don't think there really is any bias. I think that's ridiculous. A lot of this is headline driven as well. Actually read the articles that are written. And you can't find one journalist who anyone would even accuse of being Tesla Q that has not written just as many positive articles, or at least neutral articles on Tesla. It's just what would be their, they get more clicks if they write a positive thing. There are definitely more Tesla super fans out there than there are Tesla Q people. So if they're really searching for clicks, then they'll write. And some media, they do that. They just cover the positive stuff, or they're careful not to be too negative. And I've heard them also say that, which is maybe a little unethical from a journalistic standpoint, but I'd rather it be that than cover the bad stuff too much. And I get how people think that. It's just, you got to open your eyes, I think.
Listen, hey, Taylor, it's always fun to chat with you. Thank you so much for being on the show today. Good luck to everything you're doing over at Snowbull Capital, that's for sure.
Thank you so much, Paul.
All right, you guys are listening in over on the podcast right now. Great, thank you so much. Make sure and hit the subscribe button. And also, if you've discovered us, whether it's on Spotify or iTunes, whatever it might be, give us a rating. That's another way we get feedback from you. If you are watching here on YouTube, make sure and share this video. And please subscribe. It's the #1 way you can help the channel. Hit the bell. It'll give you notifications on new content. If you have an idea for a show, send it to us. And that's producer@revernetworks.com. You can always hit me up on Twitter @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.